inside my head. I ain't never felt more alive. Niggas really never touch and break. Get that pain heavy out your eyes. Hitting different when you.
ATK in this thing. What is good with y'all, TKG? Man, listen. Today we are going to be talking about my 20 favorite artists in 2020. And yes, you read that right, 20. Usually I'm doing top 10 lists and top 5s and stuff like that. But I decided to go a little farther out and go for my top 20 because, 2020, 20. So a little corny ass little thing I did there. But of course, before I even get started with this list, I will say that the artists that you're about to see didn't have to make music in 2020. They could have been making music in 2015 to 2007. It didn't really matter. It all depends on if I just like the artist or not. Hence why I say favorite, not best. So with that in mind, let's get started with this list. So number 20, 19, and 18 are going to be Eminem, Future, and JID. And for the people that regularly watch this channel, you're probably looking at Eminem being at number 20. And you're like, what the hell? Like, I thought you loved this guy. I do, but the more and more I listen to Eminem's music, the more I start to realize that he is not Stan Eminem. He is not beautiful Eminem. Pause. He is not, the Eminem show Eminem. The more he makes music, the more he falls down my list. And it's like, I know he was having fun with Music to Be Murdered By, the side B, but I can't sit here and tell you guys without a shadow of a doubt that Eminem is still one of my favorite. I mean, he definitely is still one of my favorite artists, but to say top 10, it's kind of unfair to the other artists that are kind of doing a little better than he is. So I can't have a bias just because I have him as my GOAT. So, he's still one of my favorite artists though, nonetheless. Future being at 19 would shock a lot of you, seeing as I'm pretty critical on mumble rap and, calm down motive rank, mumble rap and, just party lit rap. So Future being at 19 purely has to do with some of his older tracks and me giving him a chance on some of his newer tracks. Going back to listen to Evil and, Purple Rain and stuff like that. It made me realize what Future's purpose is, and it's not to be one of the greatest rappers of all time. It's to be one of the funnest rappers of all time. So, you just listen to him to get hype, and that's exactly what I did every time I listened to his music. He's probably one of the best artists to listen to when you're in the car, and being honest here. JID being at 18 purely has to do with me just binge listening to all his music, because, the guy's so low-key and quiet. Like, the guy drops one track every 6 months, so it's like you really gotta enjoy his music while you have it, because I'll be honest with you, if JID drops a mid album next time around, on his next venture, whenever that will be, 2022 or something like that, if he drops a mid album, I'm not gonna lie to you, he probably won't even be in my top 50, because as good as JID is like he's not Cole or Kendrick, so I wouldn't be able to tell myself, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I'm willing to wait like 2 years for this. Like, that's not gonna happen. So JID was in my top 10 in 2019 and even 2018, but the inconsistency, it's too much. I love waiting for masterpieces. I don't like waiting for, just okay, good, borderline great tracks. So, or albums, should I say. So, yeah, JID probably went from number 3 to number 18 here. So, but he's still one of my favorite artists nonetheless. Number 17, 16, and 15 is going to be Lil Uzi Vert, Kendrick Lamar, and Trippie Redd. Now, Lil Uzi Vert is actually a guy who actually snuck his way into my top 20 because he wasn't one of my favorite artists last year. But after, everyone started making a big deal about Eternal Take, I had to figure out, who is this, what is the big hype about Lil Uzi Vert? I listened. It wound up being the best album of 2020 in my personal opinion. It isn't anymore. That was an opinion I had a couple months ago, but it's still one of the best albums of 2020, no doubt. So, of course, Lil Uzi Vert has kind of just been a mainstay in my playlist, and I've kind of just went back and listened to his older stuff ever since listening to Eternal Take. And I gotta say, Lil Uzi Vert is that guy. If you haven't listened to him yet, you're definitely cheating yourself. This guy is a very fun vibe. Kendrick Lamar being at 16 actually is a big shocker, because had he been consistent right now, oh, no doubt this guy would have been number one. Like, there's no way, he would have been anything less than 3, at least. So Kendrick Lamar, the only reason why he's fallen so low is because he's just inconsistent. He hasn't done anything, hasn't said anything. So, obviously you don't keep your spot just because. So, yeah. Number 15 is Trippie Redd. And honestly, Trippie Redd was in my top 10 last year. And he kind of falls down to 15 because of Pegasus and Love Letter to You 4. And, it's just like Trippie's just been kind of mid to me. I don't know. He's still one of my favorite artists, but this is kind of a wake-up call for Trippie. Yes, he did big numbers, and he shouldn't let that distract him from the fact that his music can still be subpar. Obviously, artists prefer numbers over, the personal opinion of people, because numbers is what makes you rich. Really, the people do too, but the numbers is what's going to translate to your wallet. So Trippie Redd being, one of the highest selling artists this year, obviously won't faze Trippie in the slightest, as opposed to should he change anything up. But in my personal opinion, Trippie has been consistently repetitive for about his whole career. And that's what I'm starting to notice this year. I don't like it. So if he drops any more tracks like this, you very well may not see Trippie Redd on this list by next year, 2021. So with that being said, ding dong, you gotta wake up, buddy. Seriously. 14, 13, and 12 are gonna be Kid Cudi, Pop Smoke, and Mac Miller. All 3 of these guys are shockers because, well, one went down, one stayed the same, and one found himself new on my list. I'm sure all of these are obvious, but Kid Cudi is one guy who stayed the same. Now, Kid Cudi has always been a guy who I've enjoyed. He's always, I don't know, I feel like he should have gone up because of Man on the Moon 3, but it being a fresh listen, I've got to listen to it a couple more times for me to really tell myself, oh yeah, this guy is like for sure one of my favorite artists of the year. Like, no, I've really only listened to the album once. I've only listened to all the songs a couple times. So I've got to definitely listen to it a couple more times before I tell myself, oh yeah, Kid Cudi is going to be number 8 on my list. And really, you don't even go up that far just because of a good album. So Kid Cudi stayed the same. His last project really landed him this spot because he was kind of like 18 before. Not that I did a list like this before, but still. Pop Smoke is a guy who finds himself jumping on my list because before, when he was alive, I didn't really care for Pop Smoke. I'm not one of those fake fans that tell myself, oh, I've loved him the entire time. That's definitely not the case. I didn't care for Pop Smoke when he was alive. But when he died, of course, I was one of those guys that gave him a pity listen. I was one of those guys that listened to him just because, like, oh man, well, let me see what he was all about. And of course, unfortunately, I loved his music. And I say unfortunately because he's now deceased, so I can't get new music. Of course, we got a new album from him, and it wound up sounding really good, which makes me even more sad that I wasn't into this guy before, because it's like you find out how much you like someone, and then it's like they're not around to give you more of that beautiful art that you love so much. So Pop Smoke is a guy who literally had just from the woodworks jumped on this list. And sadly, I'm sure he's not going to be on this list by next year. But thank you, Pop Smoke, for everything that you've done and everything that you've released this year, for sure. And shout out to his label as well. Mac Miller's a guy who wound up falling. Sadly, with him being deceased, I can't cheat. I love Mac Miller. I do. He dropped one of my favorite songs this year with Circles, but I can't have him go up just because of that album. Yes, it was a good album. Yes, I loved it. It was beautiful. But I've been listening to it over and over for this whole year, and I'm gonna be honest with you, that's all I've listened to from Mac Miller, because all of his past stuff just makes me sad. And I can't listen to anything that's going to make me sad because, who wants to be depressed all day, right? So, sadly, I can't find myself to listen to Mac Miller anymore. unfortunately, Pop Smoke and Mac Miller may find themselves off this list by next year because I just can't find myself to have deceased artists accompany spots on my favorite artist list when they're not dropping any more music. And it's sad, but it's very true. So rest in peace to Pop Smoke and Mac Miller, man. Both artists will be dearly missed. At number 11, 10, and 9, we have Ab-Soul, Tyler, the Creator, and Jaden Smith. Now, Ab-Soul being at 11 is actually a decrease simply because of his inconsistency. But, come on now. That would just about tell you he was in my top 10. As a matter of fact, this guy was in my top 5. This guy is just absolutely still one of the best rappers I've ever listened to. Like, the Danger Rule with Danger Ra with the Kuta Kente freestyle he dropped this year. Absolutely amazing. Like, that song is just stuck in my head. Like, I haven't been able to stop listening to it. So, yeah, no explanation needed for Ab-Soul. If you heard him, you understand. Tyler, the Creator, is a guy who's fallen because, again, the inconsistency, but he's still in the top 10, which is crazy because, again, Tyler probably was going to be in my top 3 had he had been consistent. Tyler, the Creator, is a guy who will always be listened to by me. He's one of my favorite artists ever. So, it's just a bias that I have. Jaden Smith, and oddly, it was odd to see Tyler next to Jaden. If you know, you know. Jaden Smith is another guy who I think is one of the most overhated artists of all time. People really don't like Jaden Smith just simply due to the fact that he's already rich, so why is he rapping? And it doesn't really even have to be about money. Maybe he just likes to rap. But with that being said, my personal, love for Jaden, pause, and I'm pausing because, if you know, you know. Jaden is just one of the most versatile artists ever to me. I mean, like, this guy, he clearly has talent. And if you've listened to Jaden Smith before and you still don't like him because of whatever reason, then that's just you. But me personally, the guy can sing, the guy can rap, the guy has a flow, the guy has style, the guy has a vision. The guy, he has everything that a rapper should have. So I don't understand where the hate stems from for Jaden, but with that being said, hopefully he can find his wings and just become even bigger. I mean, he's pretty inconsistent as well, but, for good reason. He's not, a full-time rapper. So, yeah. Number 8, 7, and 6 are going to be Freddie Gibbs, J. Cole, and Josiah. Now, Freddie Gibbs being at number 8 is actually one of the other shockers here because he was not even a consideration from my list. Or if anyone was to ask me who my favorite artist was, Freddie Gibbs would have been one of the last people I would have said because I didn't even really hear too much about him. I didn't really care too much about Freddie Gibbs. I really started to get more and more into Freddie Gibbs really late 2019 and all of 2020. And as I've gone back to listen to all of his, discography, this guy's one of the best rappers I've ever heard. Now, my, subscribers and fans may overrate the hell out of him, but he is one of the best rappers out this period. Funny enough, Freddie Gibbs and J. Cole come from the same XXL class. Speaking of J. Cole, that's the other shocker. J. Cole would have been number 2 had he, still been making music. Of course, I go back and listen to all his music, and he can't retain his spot simply due to the fact that he's got the same effect on me as he always has been. Of course, I've been going back listening to KOD and 2014 Forest Hills Drive, and, of course, they have the same effect on me that they've always had. But then he drops The Climb Back and then Lion King on Ice. And, of course, those songs are pretty good, which keeps him up, but it's still not enough to keep his spot altogether. And, J. Cole, of course, was supposed to drop The Fall Off way long ago, and, everyone was lying on Twitter saying that it was coming out this month and, it might come out on Christmas. And, everyone's just holding hope for something that they don't know is going to happen. So, of course, whatever. Like, people are just assholes. But J. Cole's still one of my favorite artists, don't get me wrong. But he's not going to be in the top 3 this year. Number 6 is another new one, Josiah. Now, Josiah is another guy who probably wouldn't have been in my top 10 last year. Probably would have been in my top 20, but not my top 10. I've been listening to Josiah all year, and he's really just improved track after track after track. Everyone, some people hate on him because he's this X clone or whatever, but I mean, I don't hear it. The more you listen to him, the more distinct they sound. And it's really having to do with the fact that Josiah is probably not as visually talented as X was, but Josiah clearly has his own vision here that he runs with, and he kind of runs with it the right way. I implore any of you, if you haven't heard Josiah yet, to go listen to him, because 100% this guy is one of the best. He's gonna be one of the best rappers out. He's just he's got too much style and too much, of a different look not to stand out and become one of the best rappers out. In my personal opinion, we need to be looking out for him in 2021. Number 5 is Yoshimpkins. Now, look, this was one of the most random finds I have this year. A subscriber told me about Yoshimpkins. I was looking at my phone like, oh, like, who the hell is this guy? Like, whatever. Listen to him. I said, you know what? This is very, very fucking dope. Apparently, this is the brother of Denzel Curry. So I've heard. I don't know if it's true or not, but man, this guy is absolutely talented. If you haven't heard him yet, like I said before, if you weren't told to go listen to him, you probably haven't listened to him, because I mean, this guy's not out there widespread, or he's not being put in the media or anything like that. Is that one of those underrated guys? So you've got to be told to listen to him, and here I am telling you guys to go listen to Yoshimpkins. You will not be disappointed. This guy, his Black Jesus album is one of the best albums I've heard this year. Unfortunately, it wasn't dropped this year, so I can't put it up for best album of 2020 or one of the best albums of 2020. Otherwise, it definitely would have cracked my top 10, because it is a beautiful album, wonderful in all aspects. So definitely go listen to Yoshimpkins. Number 4 is Zodiac, and he's another guy that you had to have been told to listen to, or someone slid you a link to listen to his music. But when you do, he's definitely one of the rawest rappers you've ever heard. Like, this guy is super, I'm not going to say versatile, because again, I really like Zodiac because he's learning as he goes. Super consistent. Like, I think Zodiac drops a fucking album like every month, I think. So you definitely are not going to have like little to listen to. Like, as soon as you get into Zodiac, he's going to drop another album by next month. So, definitely worth being a fan of his. But the more you listen to somebody, the least you like them. So for me, Zodiac is a guy that I'm still learning to understand his style. I've been listening to him for about 2 years now, and I'm still learning his style, because again, this year has probably been his best year as opposed to content. He's really been improving and becoming a bigger artist, a better artist even. So for Zodiac, I say 100% listen to him, and listen to all his older stuff too, because this is a guy who he's a really dark guy. I'm gonna just be real honest with you. He's probably not gonna be your cup of tea if you're into Drake and Lil Uzi Vert and shit like that. But he's a dark guy. He's not talking about the things that you would hear on the radio, clearly, because he's at the status he's at. So listen to him with a grain of salt. But 100% one of my favorite artists for sure. I mean, this guy, he gets you hyped too. Like, I love getting hyped. So shout out to Zodiac. Hopefully he finds his flowers next year. Denzel Curry is number 3, and I mean, shocker, right? Like, you were eventually going to see him on this list. Some people actually thought he was going to be my favorite artist of the year. Now, I'm not going to lie, he would have been had 2 artists not impressed me a lot this year, but we're going to get into those 2 guys later. Denzel Curry is a guy who continues to improve, continues to, prove why he is one of the best rappers out. I've gone on a whim to say that he is the best pure rapper in the game right now, and I still stand by that statement. Denzel Curry with Unlocked proved that he is in the upper echelon of the rap game, and I mean, like, seriously, like, with Kenny Beats that album just became just wonderful. With Denzel Curry alone on it would have been magnificent, but Kenny Beats absolutely was the finishing touches on that album. And if you haven't heard it yet, like it, man, I'm telling you, you are missing out. If you've listened to Denzel Curry before, you gotta listen to Unlocked to truly appreciate Denzel Curry. But 2020, I don't think is Denzel Curry's year. I think Denzel Curry's year will be next year, because with Unlocked, he has proved that he has the keys to become a megastar in rap. He has the keys to become a superstar. 2020 will be the year that Denzel Curry becomes a superstar. Mark my words. So, I mean, he's one of my favorite rappers for obvious reasons, but I just want to figure out, like, are y'all vibing with Denzel Curry? Are y'all fucking with his music? Y'all like Denzel Curry? I gotta know, because I get mixed reactions in my comment section about Denzel Curry. So, for sure, tell me what y'all think about him. Baby Keem is number 2. Now, let me play a little imagery game with you guys right fast. Baby Keem sounds like Kendrick Lamar on Playboi Carti's beats. If that sounds fun to you, click off this video right now and go to Die For My Bitch, the album made by Baby Keem. Listen to it, come back here, and then tell me, oh yeah, yep, you're right. Baby Keem 100% is one of the biggest shockers of 2020 for me, because, I mean, thanks to XXL, I really had an interest to listen to his music, because I didn't really have an interest listening to his music because of his Orange Soda success that he had, because everyone was listening to him by then. So, you know, I didn't really care for the song. I didn't really care. I seen a song called Orange Soda, and I was like, yeah, nah, not for me. And then I seen the artist name, and I said, Baby Keem. Yeah, this definitely sounds like someone I don't give a fuck about. So, 100%, when I was, you know, forced to listen to his music thanks to XXL and, you know, me having to do research for video purpose, I wound up finding one of my newest favorite artists, and I wound up just binge listening to all of Baby Keem's music. And I was like, wow, like, this guy is just talented. Like, you know, he's not those spiritual, lyrical miracle, but he ain't no slouch either. Baby Keem can rap. He can rap. And I mean, in the midst of him saying some nonsense, the beats are absolutely wonderful. His beat selection is absolutely golden here. Like I said, he sounds like Kendrick Lamar on a hype beat. And you know how Kendrick Lamar sounds on hype beats. So if that doesn't intrigue you, like, I don't know what will. So definitely go listen to Baby Keem if you haven't already. I guarantee you, man, I promise you, it's one of the most interesting listens you'll have all 2020. Now, of course, number 1 is Red Veil. Now, you guys are to thank for this, because I had nothing but people in my community telling me, listen to Red Veil, listen to Red Veil, listen to Red Veil. I go into Discord, listen to Red Veil. I go on Instagram, oh man, you should listen to Red Veil. Oh, you know, it's like everyone was telling me to listen to Red Veil. And then I did. The first song I listened to was Bad News, and it was like, wow, like, this guy, I was thinking that he was gonna be like some garbage artist. And then I said, I was lost for words. I couldn't believe that you guys put me on to this treasure here. Red Veil has not made a bad song to me. And I go back and listen to all his past work, and, you know, yet again, he still has not made a bad track. And you know what the crazy part about this is? Red Veil is younger than everyone that I've talked about here today. Niagara is, to me, the best album, hands down, of 2020. And that might be a spoiler if I so happen to make a best albums list, but Red Veil is the best rapper I've listened to this year. Y'all need to give yourselves the gift of Red Veil if you haven't listened to him yet. That's what you're going to do for Christmas. You're going to listen to Red Veil. But I don't even need to have a description for this guy, you know? I've been pushing him for months. So, number 1, favorite artist of the year, Red Veil. Coming into 2020, he will retain this spot, this number 1 spot. It's going to be hard for him to keep it. Seriously, because there are some artists that have been making some big pushes. So hopefully we see Red Veil still on the list. But at number 1, that's a mystery.
coming in. Yeah, flex. I just wanna win.